Welcome, my lovely wizards and witches. Tonight, we journey into the world of one of the most mysterious and revered creatures in wizarding history, the Phoenix. A symbol of rebirth, loyalty, and power. The Phoenix has captured the fascination of witches and wizards for centuries. Unlike other magical beings, it does not form flocks, nor can it be domesticated. It appears only to those it deems worthy, bound not by ownership but by a deeper, unspoken connection. With the ability to burst into flames and rise anew from its ashes, the Phoenix defies the natural order, existing beyond the constraints of time and mortality. Its tears heal, its song inspires, and its presence alone shifts the tide of fate. Few have ever truly understood these creatures, yet their impact on wizarding history is undeniable. Before we continue, I want you, dear listener, to comment down below where you're from and what time it currently is. Now, let us begin and uncover the truth behind the legend of the Phoenix. The Phoenix has long been woven into the fabric of wizarding history, its presence both rare and profound. Unlike many magical creatures catalogued in texts such as fantastic beasts and where to find them, Phoenixes remain elusive, their numbers uncertain, their origins largely unrecorded. Their existence is often regarded as a sign of extraordinary magic, and their presence is rarely coincidental. References to the Phoenix date back to ancient magical civilizations, where it was revered as a symbol of immortality, wisdom, and protection. Though Muggles have their own mythologies surrounding the bird, often depicting it as a creature of fire and renewal, the wizarding world recognizes the Phoenix not as mere folklore, but as a living embodiment of magical resilience. Unlike dragons, which have distinct breeds, or hippogriffs, which vary in temperament, Phoenixes exist as a singular species, their numbers neither expanding nor dwindling in any observable way. Some scholars theorize that Phoenixes are not born in the traditional sense, but are part of an unbroken cycle of regeneration, rising anew each time they perish. Others suggest they may be drawn to locations of great magical significance, appearing only when needed and vanishing just as mysteriously. The first recorded account of a phoenix in the wizarding world is believed to have come from early Egyptian wizards, who described a scarlet and gold bird that could vanish in a burst of flame and return days later, completely renewed. Ancient Egyptian spellcasters associated the bird with Ra, the sun god, believing it to be a divine messenger that carried wisdom between worlds. Some hieroglyphic texts suggest that Egyptian sorcerers sought the phoenix for its healing properties, though there is no evidence that any wizard successfully domesticated one. In medieval Europe, the phoenix became entwined with alchemy, particularly in the pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone. Nicholas Flamel, the only known successful creator of the stone, was rumored to have studied phoenix properties in his quest for immortality, though no direct link between his work and the creature has been confirmed. Some wizarding historians theorize that phoenixes are bound to ancient, near-forgotten magic, existing outside conventional magical classifications. Unlike other magical creatures, they have never been classified as a threat, nor have they ever been successfully bred or studied in captivity. Beyond history, the phoenix holds immense cultural significance within the wizarding world. The bird is an emblem of hope, rebirth, and resilience, often associated with powerful magical figures. The Order of the Phoenix, founded by Albus Dumbledore, took its name from the creature, signifying its mission to oppose the darkness of Lord Voldemort and rise stronger despite adversity. Despite its revered status, sightings of phoenixes remain exceptionally rare. Unlike other magical creatures that thrive in the presence of wizards, the phoenix exists largely beyond human influence, choosing its own path and companions. Its refusal to be tamed has led many scholars to believe that phoenixes operate under their own form of intelligence or magical will, aligning themselves only with those who prove themselves worthy. Throughout wizarding history, only a handful of witches and wizards have ever been known to share a bond with a phoenix. Most notably, Albus Dumbledore formed a lifelong connection with Fawkes, one of the most famous phoenixes in recorded history. How such bonds are formed remains a mystery. Phoenixes cannot be summoned or trained, nor do they respond to traditional magical control. They come and go as they please, their presence often marking pivotal moments in magical history. Although phoenixes have never been observed forming groups or reproducing, they are known to live for hundreds of years, if not longer. Unlike dragons, which have territorial disputes, or unicorns, which exist in herds, phoenixes appear to be entirely solitary creatures. Whether this is due to their method of regeneration or their inherent nature remains unknown. The Ministry of Magic's Department for the Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures officially classifies the phoenix as XXX, indicating that, while highly magical, it poses no threat to wizards and requires no containment. Even so, little is known about its natural habits, and efforts to track the species have largely been unsuccessful. The secrecy surrounding phoenixes, whether intentional or not, has ensured their continued mystique. They are creatures that defy expectation, bound to the deepest magic in the wizarding world, resilient, eternal, and ever beyond reach. Few creatures in the wizarding world possess magic as profound and unexplainable as the phoenix. Unlike dragons, whose fire is destructive, or unicorns, whose magic is tied to purity, the phoenix exists as a being of transformation, renewal, and untamed power. Its abilities are unique, defying the expectations of even the most learned magiciologists. Though rarely seen, their remarkable gifts have made them figures of legend, intertwined with some of the greatest moments in magical history. The most defining trait of the phoenix is its ability to be reborn from its own ashes. This process, commonly referred to as a burning day, occurs at irregular intervals, sometimes spanning decades, sometimes mere months, depending on the bird. As a phoenix reaches the end of its life cycle, it begins to show signs of aging. Its feathers lose their brilliance, its movements slow, and its once powerful song grows weak. Eventually, it bursts into flames of deep gold and red, consumed entirely by the fire. Moments later, from the pile of ashes, a new phoenix chick emerges, small and fragile, yet unmistakably the same bird. The cycle of rebirth is one of the greatest mysteries of magazology. It is not simple immortality, nor a form of regeneration seen in other magical creatures. A phoenix does not merely heal itself. It is renewed completely, carrying with it the knowledge of its past lives, but never showing signs of age or decay. This ability has led to speculation that a phoenix can never truly die, though this remains unproven. No recorded instance exists of a phoenix perishing in any conventional way, whether by injury, spell, or natural causes. Even in battle, a phoenix's flames protect it from harm, making it near impossible to destroy by ordinary means. A phoenix's song is one of its most mysterious and influential powers, affecting all who hear it in profoundly different ways. Those with pure intentions or courageous hearts experience a deep sense of strength, hope, and clarity, as if the music itself bolsters their resolve. In contrast, those with evil intent or fear in their hearts find the song deeply unsettling, even terrifying. During the Battle of the Chamber of Secrets, Fawkes' song emboldened Harry Potter, filling him with an unshakable sense of determination despite facing the deadly basilisk. At the same time, Tom Riddle, Voldemort's memory, reacted with anger and unease, recognizing the presence of a power he could not control. The magic of Phoenix Song is not fully understood, but it is believed to be tied to emotion rather than intent. A person who is uncertain or afraid may feel its warmth, while one filled with hatred may feel only dread. The melody itself is described as unearthly, powerful, and impossible to forget, carrying an aura of something beyond human comprehension. Perhaps the most famous of a phoenix's gifts is its ability to heal wounds with its tears. Unlike standard magical remedies, which require potions and incantations, Phoenix tears work instantly, capable of mending injuries that would otherwise be fatal. The tears do not simply close wounds, they counteract poisons, reverse venomous effects, and restore lost strength. The most well-documented example of this power was when Fawkes saved Harry Potter's life in the Chamber of Secrets. Struck by the basilisk's venomous fang, Harry was on the brink of death, an injury that no known antidote could cure. Yet, as Fawkes wept onto the wound, the venom was expelled, and the puncture healed within moments, leaving behind no trace of harm. Magical scholars have long sought to replicate the properties of phoenix tears in potion making. Yet no known elixir carries the same potency. Their effects remain unique, tied, it seems, not just to their composition, but to the magic of the bird itself. Unlike most magical creatures, phoenixes possess the ability to disappear and reappear at will, seemingly traveling through flames. This ability is unlike traditional apparition, which requires concentration and follows specific magical principles. Instead, a phoenix vanishes in a burst of fire and reappears wherever it chooses, bypassing wards and barriers that prevent ordinary magical travel. During Dumbledore's duel with Voldemort at the Ministry of Magic, Fawkes demonstrated this power by intercepting a killing curse, swallowing the deadly magic and vanishing in a column of flame before re-emerging moments later, unharmed. This act defied conventional magical laws. No known spell or potion can protect a being from Avada Kedavra, yet the phoenix escaped without consequence. This suggests that phoenixes exist beyond standard magical limitations, bound not by traditional spell work, but by a force more ancient and fundamental. Their movements appear effortless, their flames untouchable, as if they are governed by their own unique magical laws. Despite their delicate, elegant appearance, phoenixes are astonishingly strong. They are capable of lifting immense weight, far beyond what their size would suggest. Fawkes, for instance, was able to carry multiple people into the air with ease, defying normal physics and magical limitations. Phoenixes also possess an unusual level of intelligence, surpassing that of most magical creatures. They do not behave like standard animals, nor do they respond to commands in the way that domesticated magical beings do. Instead, their actions suggest a high level of awareness and independent decision-making. Fawkes, for example, deliberately aided Dumbledore, appearing when needed, healing wounds, and even engaging in battle when necessary. He was never commanded, he simply chose to act. Unlike familiars, who are bonded through ownership, a phoenix serves only of its own volition, aligning itself with wizards it deems worthy. All of these traits, their immortality, their healing, their power over fire and flight, paint the phoenix as a creature beyond normal classification. It does not hunt, it does not hoard, it does not act on impulse or instinct alone. It exists in a state of wisdom and mystery, appearing at crucial moments and then fading into legend. Though phoenixes remain one of the most elusive magical creatures, their impact on wizarding history is undeniable. Whether as symbols of hope, allies in battle, or silent watchers over powerful wizards, they represent magic at its purest, eternal, untamed, and ever-burning. Among the few phoenixes ever recorded in wizarding history, none are as well documented or as revered as Fawkes. the magnificent companion of Albus Dumbledore. Unlike ordinary magical creatures that could be bred, tamed, or studied, phoenixes were rare beings of immense power, choosing their own fates and forming bonds only with those they deemed worthy. Fawkes was no exception. His presence at Dumbledore's side was not a mark of ownership, but of an unspoken understanding between two beings of extraordinary wisdom. How their paths first crossed remains unknown, for no record exists of Dumbledore ever acquiring or summoning a phoenix. It is widely believed that Fawkes came to him by his own will, drawn to the headmaster's strength of character and profound mastery of magic. Unlike owls, which could be purchased, or hippogriffs, which could be trained, Fawkes's presence was a choice, one that carried an untold depth of meaning. Throughout his years at Hogwarts, Fawkes rarely revealed the full extent of his abilities. He remained a silent observer, perched in the headmaster's office, watching over those who entered. To students, he was a magnificent but mysterious figure, a creature of legend rather than a participant in daily affairs. Yet, when the moment called for it, Fawkes's actions changed the course of history, proving time and time again that he was far more than a simple companion. His most famous intervention came within the depths of the Chamber of Secrets, where he appeared at a moment of great peril, answering a call that had never been spoken aloud. When Harry Potter faced the basilisk, Fawkes arrived in a sudden blaze of fire, his piercing song filling the chamber with an unearthly melody. It was not simply a cry, but an enchantment woven into sound, instilling courage in the heart of the pure, while striking fear into the wicked. As the monstrous serpent turned its deadly gaze upon the boy, Fawkes acted with swift precision, launching himself at the basilisk and blinding it with his talons. No wand could have done the same. No incantation could have rendered the creature's most dangerous weapon useless in an instant. But Fawkes's intervention did not end there. He brought with him the Sorting Hat, an object that at first seemed insignificant, but soon revealed the Sword of Gryffindor, a weapon that could slay the ancient beast. As Harry drove the blade into the serpent, he suffered a fatal wound, the basilisk's fang piercing deep into his arm, unleashing venom for which no known cure existed. Yet, as life drained from his body, Fawkes wept, his tears falling onto the wound and sealing it shut. In a matter of moments, the venom's lethal grasp was undone, and Harry Potter stood once more, alive because of the Phoenix's unmatched power. Fawkes's magic extended beyond healing and song. He was a creature of protection, as demonstrated once more during the legendary duel between Dumbledore and Lord Voldemort in the halls of the Ministry of Magic. As the two greatest wizards of their age clashed, spells of unimaginable power surged through the air. In a final, decisive act, Voldemort cast Avada Kedavra, the unblockable killing curse, toward Dumbledore. Yet before it could strike, Fawkes intercepted the curse, absorbing its force entirely. In an instant, his body was consumed by flames, but where any other being would have perished, Fawkes merely vanished, only to be reborn once more from his own ashes. The ability to counter the killing curse was unprecedented. There was no spell, no potion, no known magical force that could defy death in such a way, except for the magic of the Phoenix. The event left many wizarding scholars questioning whether phoenixes operated under a different set of magical laws entirely, existing outside the reach of mortality itself. While witches and wizards sought ways to extend their lifespans through dark means, the phoenix simply renewed itself, unshackled from the limitations of life and death. For years, Fawkes remained a constant presence in Hogwarts, a guardian of its halls, a silent witness to the trials and triumphs of those who passed through its walls. But with the death of Albus Dumbledore, something changed. Those present at Hogwarts in the days following his passing recalled hearing a low, mournful cry echoing through the castle, a phoenix's lament that carried a sorrow no spell could ease. Then, without warning, Fawkes took flight and was never seen again. He did not remain to guard Hogwarts. He did not seek another master. He simply disappeared into legend, leaving behind only the memory of his song. The fate of Fawkes remains unknown. Some believe he returned to the wild, disappearing into places untouched by wizard kind, where phoenixes resided beyond the reach of history. Others wonder if he sought a new wizard worthy of his presence, though no such individual has ever been identified. There are those who suggest that Fawkes' departure was not merely a reaction to grief, but something greater, that, just as he had chosen Dumbledore, he chose to leave when his purpose had been fulfilled. Yet Fawkes' influence lingers. His tail feathers, taken long ago and used as wand core, continue to shape the fates of those who wield them. Two of the most famous wands in history, those of Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort, contained feathers from Fawkes, linking them in a bond that ultimately determined the fate of the wizarding world. Though the wands found separate masters, their connection ensured that they would always recognize one another, creating a bond that not even Voldemort's darkest magic could break. Fawkes was not just a creature of myth, he was a symbol of resilience, wisdom, and hope. His presence in the world of magic was not one of domination, but of guidance. His song a reminder that even in the darkest moments, light could still rise from the ashes. Whether or not he will ever return remains unknown, but his story endures, carried forward by those who remember the fire, the song, and the unbreakable magic of the most famous phoenix to have ever lived. The legacy of Fawkes did not end with his departure from Hogwarts. Though the Phoenix was gone, a part of his magic remained in the wizarding world, woven into the very core of two of the most consequential wands in history. Long before Fawkes had joined Albus Dumbledore, before he had healed mortal wounds or intercepted the killing curse. He had gifted 2 of his tail feathers to Garrick Ollivander, the most renowned wand maker in Britain. These feathers, each infused with the ancient magic of the phoenix, became the foundation for 2 wands that would one day shape the fate of the wizarding world. A phoenix feather as a wand core was exceedingly rare. Among the 3 supreme wand cores used by Ollivander, unicorn hair, dragon heartstring, and phoenix feather, it was considered the most temperamental and difficult to master. A wand with a phoenix feather at its heart was known to be independent, unpredictable, and highly selective in choosing its owner. Unlike dragon heartstring, which produced wands capable of great power, or unicorn hair, which created wands of consistent loyalty, phoenix feather wands followed their own path, often responding to a wielder's deepest potential rather than their immediate abilities. They were known to act of their own accord, sometimes refusing to perform certain types of magic or resisting wizards, who attempted to use them for purposes contrary to their nature. The most famous phoenix feather wands ever created were those belonging to Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort. Crafted from holly and yew respectively, these wands were brothers, bound not by choice, but by the shared origin of their cause. When Ollivander fashioned them, he could not have predicted that they would come to represent opposite ends of the magical spectrum, one destined to protect, the other to destroy. But the twin cores ensured that their magic would always recognize each other, responding in ways that defied even the deepest laws of wand lore. Voldemort's wand, the elder of the 2, was a 13.5-inch yew wand, dark and imposing. Yew was a wood often associated with both immortality and death, and when paired with a phoenix feather, it created a wand of immense power and terrifying potential. It became an instrument of destruction, wielded by the Dark Lord in his rise to power, responsible for unspeakable acts of magic. Yet, despite Voldemort's skill, his wand was never truly invincible. Though it served him well, its true nature was revealed when it encountered its twin, Harry Potter's wand. Harry's wand, made of holly, was nearly its opposite in every way. Holly was a wood known for protection and resilience, often favored by those who were destined to face great adversity. Unlike yew, which was associated with permanence and transformation, holly was symbolic of overcoming challenges and repelling evil. When combined with a phoenix feather, it became a wand of extraordinary adaptability, capable of performing feats of magic beyond what an ordinary wizard might expect. The connection between these 2 wands became evident during Harry and Voldemort's duel in the graveyard of Little Hangleton. When their spells collided, a phenomenon known as priori incantame occurred, something so rare that even the most learned wand makers had only theorized about its effects. Because the wands shared the same core, they refused to harm one another, instead creating a magical resonance that forced Voldemort's wand to regurgitate echoes of the spells it had cast. In that moment, the very essence of Fawkes's magic, one that sought not destruction but balance, revealed itself. The Phoenix, a creature of rebirth and renewal, had bound these two wands together, ensuring that they could never truly work against each other without consequence. Phoenix feather wands were known to be particular about their owners, and Harry's wand was no exception. It responded to him in ways that defied expectation, proving its extraordinary adaptability time and time again. But its most unprecedented act of magic occurred during the Battle of the Seven Potters. When Voldemort, wielding Lucius Malfoy's borrowed wand, attempted to strike Harry down, something extraordinary happened. Harry's holy wand, acting entirely on its own, shattered the attacking wand and sent a surge of golden fire back at Voldemort, an event no wizard had ever witnessed before. This was not ordinary magic. No spell had been cast, no incantation uttered. It was the phoenix feather itself, the lingering essence of Fawkes, that had acted in that moment. Though Harry did not understand it at the time, his wand had recognized Voldemort's magic, recognized the threat, and responded in kind, overpowering a wand that was otherwise entirely foreign to it. Such an event had never been recorded in wand lore, reinforcing the belief that Phoenix feather wands carried a magic that was deeper, older, and beyond human understanding. Despite their power, Phoenix feather wands were the least common of Ollivander's 3 supreme cores. Not just because of their rarity, but because they were known to be the hardest to master. They required a wielder who could match their independence, someone who did not seek to dominate their wand, but rather form a true partnership with it. Many wizards found them frustrating, as they were slow to accept a master, and could refuse to perform magic that did not align with their wielder's nature. Unlike Dragon Heartstring, which produced wands with raw strength, or Unicorn Hair, which favored loyalty, Phoenix feather wands demanded growth, adaptability, and balance. It was this quality that made them particularly well suited to wizards who were destined for greatness. For they did not simply perform magic, they chose how and when to act. This independence mirrored the nature of the Phoenix itself, a creature that could not be controlled or bound to a master. Just as Fawkes had chosen Dumbledore, and later departed when his purpose had been fulfilled, so too did Phoenix feather wands exhibit a will of their own, aligning themselves with those who were worthy, but never allowing themselves to be used as mere tools. The legacy of Fawkes lives on in these wands, a reminder that the magic of the Phoenix is never truly lost. Though the bird had flown beyond the reach of the wizarding world, his fire remained, carried in the heart of 2 wands that had shaped the course of history. Whether in battle, in defiance of death, or in the unbreakable bond between two brother wands. Fawkes's magic continued to burn, a silent testament to the enduring power of the Phoenix's flame. The magic of the Phoenix was woven into the very core of wands, yet its presence in the wizarding world was almost mythical. Unlike other magical creatures catalogued in texts such as Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, phoenixes remained elusive, their numbers uncertain, their existence often the subject of quiet speculation. Despite their immense power and the profound significance they held, they were creatures of secrecy, appearing only in the rarest of circumstances and forming bonds only with those they deemed worthy. Throughout history, witches and wizards had sought to study, capture, or even domesticate phoenixes, but every attempt had ended in failure. Unlike hippogriffs, which could be tamed with respect, or dragons, which could be subdued through force, phoenixes answered to no one. They did not reside in flocks, nor did they leave behind hatchlings or nesting grounds to be observed. No wizard, no matter how skilled, had ever documented a phoenix's natural habitat, and no magizoologist had successfully tracked one through conventional means. Some believed they lived in secluded, highly magical places, hidden in the most remote corners of the world. Others theorized that phoenixes did not exist in the same way as other creatures, that they were beings of pure magical energy bound to the cycle of fire and renewal, rather than to the physical world. Their method of reproduction, if it even existed, remained entirely unknown. Unlike most magical creatures, there were no recorded instances of phoenix eggs or hatchlings. Some speculated that phoenixes were not born in the traditional sense, but rather manifested when needed, appearing only in moments of great significance. Others believed that when one phoenix perished, another would rise elsewhere, ensuring that their numbers remained constant, neither growing nor declining. This theory was supported by the fact that no known wizard had ever encountered more than one phoenix at a time. Phoenixes were also protected by their own innate magic, which made them nearly impossible to trap. Their ability to vanish and reappear in bursts of flame allowed them to escape confinement effortlessly, bypassing any wards, spells, or physical barriers placed around them. Even if one were to be caught, it would not remain so for long. Unlike house elves, who could apparate past most magical defenses, or dragons, which could be restrained with the right enchantments, phoenixes simply refused to be bound by any means. Beyond their physical elusiveness, phoenixes were also immune to conventional harm. Their ability to burst into flames and be reborn from their ashes made them unkillable by ordinary means. Even if a wizard were to strike a fatal blow, there was no certainty that it would be permanent. A phoenix's body might be destroyed, but from its remains, a new life would always emerge. This singular trait made them creatures of pure resilience, able to outlast even the most ancient of magical beings. Despite their legendary status, phoenixes were not widely revered in wizarding culture in the way that some creatures were. Dragons, though dangerous, were bred and studied in reserves. Thestrals, though feared, were known to exist in controlled numbers. Even Dementors, dark and unnatural as they were, could be contained and weaponized. But phoenixes existed beyond these constructs. They belonged to no one, could not be studied, and refused to be controlled. Because of this, many wizards simply did not believe in them, or at least considered them little more than creatures of myth. No more real than the Snallygaster or the fabled mooncalves of old wizarding lore. The rarity of phoenixes was also reflected in wizarding lore. Unlike unicorns or dragons, which had their own protections under magical legislation, phoenixes were not explicitly governed by any known magical regulations. This was not because they were unimportant, but because the Ministry of Magic had no jurisdiction over them. No laws existed regarding their breeding, care, or trade, simply because no such interactions had ever been possible. While many dark creatures, such as acromantulas or basilisks, were feared and restricted, and many magical species, such as centaurs and merpeople, had their own defined territories, phoenixes stood apart. They required no protection, no oversight, and no classification, because they did not live by the laws of Wizardkin. This extraordinary detachment from the wizarding world made their presence all the more significant when they did appear. A phoenix did not choose a wizard lightly. They did not bond with masters out of convenience, nor did they serve simply because they were commanded to. When a phoenix aligned itself with a witch or wizard, it was because it recognized something within them, a quality that could not be forced or fabricated. Fawkes was the most well-known phoenix to have ever lived, but his choice to remain at Dumbledore's side was an exception, not a rule. There had been whispers throughout history of other wizards who had, for brief periods, encountered phoenixes, but few could claim to have earned a phoenix's loyalty. Even those who sought them with noble intentions rarely succeeded. Phoenixes did not come when called, nor did they linger where they were not needed. For all their immortality, their wisdom, and their power, phoenixes remained untethered to the world of wizards, existing on the fringes of reality, appearing only in moments of great significance. Whether they were remnants of an older magic, guardians of something beyond mortal understanding, or simply creatures that refused to be bound by time, their rarity ensured that they would never become mere footnotes in wizarding history. Instead, they remained enigmatic figures, symbols of renewal, resilience, and the ever-burning flame of magic itself. The phoenix is more than a creature of legend. It is a being of fire and renewal, wisdom and mystery, existing beyond the reach of time, beyond the laws that govern life and death. From the ancient wizarding world to the present day, it has remained a symbol of resilience, transformation, and untamed magic. It does not seek power, nor does it linger where it is not needed. It simply is, rising and falling like the endless cycle of the flame. Few have ever encountered a phoenix, and even fewer have been chosen by one. Those who have shared their lives with these extraordinary creatures, Dumbledore with forks, Ollivander with the wands crafted from his feathers, Harry Potter as the final wielder of that magic, have glimpsed something beyond ordinary understanding. The phoenix does not serve, it guides. It does not submit, it chooses. And when its purpose is fulfilled, it vanishes into legend, leaving behind only the whisper of its song. Perhaps, somewhere in the quiet corners of the world, a phoenix waits for the next moment of destiny, the next wizard worthy of its presence. Or perhaps, like magic itself, it will always remain just beyond reach, appearing only when the fire is needed most. Now, close your eyes and let your thoughts drift like embers carried on a warm breeze. Let the gentle lull of phoenix song fill the space between dreams, soft and golden, guiding you into rest. Sleep well, my dear wizards and witches. Good night.